Hey, what is up guys? It is Card Shuffler 99 here, and today we are going to be remaking our reveal on the Sacred Riana's Asia's Got Talent card trick that she did in her audition. So once again, we did make a reveal on this, and in that video we basically showed you guys a method that allows you to do this at home. Now her actual method involves something known as a loop, and this is a magic gimmick essentially that you can buy from magic stores. And we basically explained that we weren't teaching the exact method she used, but it's very similar, and this is like a way that you could do it without essentially using a magic gimmick, without having to go to the store and buy it. You could actually use like dental floss or just thread that you actually could have in your house and do the same effect. Now, we were getting a lot of comments saying this isn't what she did, you know, her hand was on the table, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to clear this entire thing up for you guys right now, and we're going to teach you guys the exact method. Now, warning, this is going to involve a magic gimmick known as a loop. So you're going to have to go buy a loop. Now, if you don't know what a loop is, it's essentially a magic gimmick. It's a very, very small thread. And this thread is so thin to the point where it's nearly invisible. I'm talking, this thread is thinner than like a strand of hair. So if you can barely see a strand of hair on a table, there's no chance you are going to find a loop. Okay? These things are so good. At the same time, they're really fragile. But I definitely recommend you guys buy it because they're not going to see this thread when you're actually performing this trick. So you guys can actually see what's happening right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you with this little thread right here. So all I did was I took a little thread and I made a knot. This is literally what a loop is. A loop is just a loop, okay? Basically thread. Now, this loop is essentially going to do the entire trick for you. Now, the reason I'm using this once again is just so you guys can see what's happening. So this trick is pretty simple. Now, we did have a couple theories that we did talk about before. Now, these are going to be dismissed, but I'm going to show you guys the actual method behind this. So the way she does it is slightly different from the traditional haunted deck, so I'll show you how that's done a little bit later. But let me show you guys how she's going to go about doing this, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your loop here. Once again, this is near invisible. No one's going to see this. And this is going to go around your left wrist. Now, this is assuming this is her, okay? This is around her left wrist. Now, once again, this is so thin that nobody can see it. It's not going to be dangling. I mean, it will be dangling, sort of, but she does have sleeves and everything that she can hide this in to start the trick, at least, and then it would have to come out. But honestly, no one's going to see this dangling down. Literally, if somebody saw a strand of hair dangling from your arm, they wouldn't question anything. But this is even thinner to the point where they won't even know anything's on your wrist, okay? So that's how you're going to start it. What she's going to do is she's going to take the deck, and she's going to have them basically select the cards. How are you going to do that? She's going to place this onto the table, and she's going to ask them to lift up wherever they want. So let's say they lift up right here. She's going to take, I believe she takes this card right here as their selection, but it doesn't matter which cards you take. You can take this one here, this one here. Either way, that's where they cut. So you're going to keep these packets separated, and what you're going to do here is she's going to take this loop while they're looking at the card, and she's going to basically wrap it around her hand. So this is essentially what's happening here. Okay, she's going to take it, she's going to wrap it around her hand just like this, okay? So now that this is around her hand, okay, she's in this position right here. Basically, you got a loop around the hand, and basically it's around the deck as well. What you're going to do is you're going to take this right here, okay, and you're going to place it underneath the thread, okay? So this is going underneath here, so it's outside of the actual thread. So what this is doing here, essentially, is you have your little packet of cards wrapped inside a loop with the selection underneath it. So essentially what's going to happen is if you basically pull on it, it's going to separate this entire packet because this packet's in the thread, but their card isn't actually in the thread. So when you have this around your wrist here, okay, you're in this position. She's going to set this down. She's going to hold it down, okay, because obviously she didn't actually have it set. She's going to hold it. She's going to grab someone's hand, okay, with her right hand. And after she does that, she's going to move her left hand, sort of, back down here, okay? Now, she's got, the loops are generally pretty big. So what's going to happen here, and you can actually make your own loop. They actually sell, like, invisible thread. If you want to go check on YouTube, 52 Cards made a video on how to make actual loops, and that you can actually pick the size of your loop. So all she's doing is she's going until extension of the loop, okay? Obviously, if she went further, it would start moving. Now, you notice her packet is actually going to basically cut back towards the left, implying that she's pulling it with her left hand. Now, yes, it's on the table and it doesn't look like it's actually moving, but all it takes is the literal slightest movement to actually get this to start moving. So once again, if you're in this situation here and you're right about here, sorry. So if you're in this position here, okay, you could already see the slightest movement is actually going to make this start moving. So you see, this is how her packet actually breaks, just like that. You can see it takes very minimal movement to actually get this to move. Now, she only makes it move about that much, and then she's going to reveal the card to cut to, and obviously that's the selection. So once again, to actually make this work, it's not going to take the largest hand gesture. You're not going to have to take your hand and pull it across to make it move. You just need the very slightest movement. So if she's here, and you can actually kind of see her hand. I know it's really hard to tell if her hand's actually moving, but if she takes her hand like this, and she moves it like that, that's it. It'll move, okay? Now, the actual loops, not this obviously, but the actual loops are elastic. So if you don't know what elastic is, it's sort of like a rubber band. It's stretchy, right? It'll pull, and that's going to make it a lot easier. So when you're actually pulling, it takes very minimal movement to actually get this to split. So let's run through that one more time. This is on your left hand, just like that. She's going to set the deck down, say lift up wherever you want, right? They're going to lift up. Take a card. Let's go with the 10 of spades, okay? From here, she's going to take this. All she has to do is set that there. Now, the actual loop, it's going to be a lot harder to actually find the loop, in fact, because it's so hard to actually see that the magician themselves might not actually see it. So what you can do here is if you sort of extend your thumb like this, this will sort of extend out right here, and then you could actually pinch right there and sort of bring it out. That's just a tip that Disturb Reality gives. So once again, it's right here. You're just going to bring it around the deck, just like that. Okay, now you can bring it between your fingers. From there, you're going to take their card, and you'll notice she's going to bring it around her right side. Okay, she's holding it with her left hand, and she's going to bring it around the right side. So all she's doing here is she's placing this underneath the actual thread, just like that. Okay, this whole thing is still on her hand. She's going to set this down, just like so. Okay, and once she sets this down, what she's going to do is she's going to basically hold it for a second. She's going to grab one of the judge's hands. That's just for sort of the effect. Grabs the hand, sets this hand down until extension. Now, the reason it's not actually splitting yet is because she's not actually extending the actual loop yet. Okay, so if you're here, she's not extending the loop. Obviously, if she went all the way out past extension, it would start moving. Now, you notice that it actually sort of cuts like that, right? It's actually going to cut sort of down to her left, towards her left hand. Notice her hand is underneath the deck to the left. Now, she's got a much bigger loop, so keep that in mind. So all she has to do is the slightest movement. It's going to break off like that. Once again, obviously, she's not going like this because she doesn't actually have it break off all the way. She only has it break off to about here, and then she's actually going to just split it just like that. Now, this is slightly different to the actual way you do the haunted deck. If you guys just want to know how that's done, I'll show you right now. All that is essentially, I'll put this one on my right hand for the actual version here. What you do is you have them select a card. So let's say they select this card right here. All you do is sort of the same routine. You're going to wrap this around the deck just like that. And you're just going to, in this case, you're actually pushing it into the thread just like that. Right? So you're actually pushing it into the thread. And in this method here, what would happen is if you move your hand up to the right, it actually splits at their card just like that. And that would be the selection. So that's how the original one's done. But obviously, noticing the way she did it, every little detail is literally how she did it. Go back, watch the actual trick. I do everything the same exact way she does. Once again, thread on your left wrist, sets it down, lift up, select a card. She's going to do this. You notice the deck is actually in her left hand, so that's why the thread has to be on her left hand. So once again, you're in this situation here. She goes like this. She takes the card, she brings it around the right side. It goes in pretty quick, so you know she's not actually putting it in. She's putting it right underneath. Okay? This is still going to be around her hand, so once again, your hand still has to be inside the thread. She just places it down, holds her hand there, just to like situate everything, make sure everything stays down, grabs someone's hand. She brings her hand down to the left. Obviously, this is just to extension of the thread or the loop, not past it, because if once you go past it, it starts to split. You'll notice her deck is actually going to split just like this, down to the left, and then you can reveal the card. So that is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this little sort of reveal. Once again, this is the exact method. Feel free to check for yourself. And this is Card Shuffler 99. Peace out, guys.